Hello, welcome to Pyramid Knits. My name is Liz and I am a knitter and a natural dyer. I am coming to you from my home outside of Taos, New Mexico in the southwestern United States. And I am here to just sit and chat with you for a bit about crafty things and what I've been making and what I have been up to, and hopefully keep you some company and give you a little inspiration. So it's been a little bit over a month since the last time that I recorded. Last month got really busy with work, and I feel like I haven't accomplished that much. I think I have. Everything is still kind of a work in progress. I'm not finishing things very quickly, which is starting to be a little frustrating, boring, unmotivating, all of those things. So naturally I started something new the other day. Oh, isn't that always the way? Yeah, since I recorded last, I've been really busy with my day job work stuff. And I went on a camping trip with my dad. We took his RV out, and my 2 dogs and his 1 dog. So it was me and my dad and 3 dogs in a little RV for the weekend. It was fun. It was fun. It did rain a lot where we went. I'll try and throw in a few little pictures here, but yeah, it rained pretty much every day. It did rain every day that we were there, so it was good that we had an RV. I got to learn some card games from my dad, which was fun. Yeah, we went up to a lake in southern Colorado, and it was really, really beautiful. I think the rain just made it even more beautiful, even though it wasn't, quite as warm as we maybe had anticipated. That bathing suit I packed did not get used. But it was still a really beautiful place to go for a couple of days and, get away from screens and all that. It's funny, I live pretty rurally now. I used to live in the city, but moved away about 5 years ago. And I have, an acre and a half or so, and my neighbors are pretty spread out. Everybody has a little bit of land. So whenever I go camping, most of the time, if I go camping at a campground, I end up thinking to myself, like, why did I come here? Because I drove like hours to be in the wilderness, crammed in with a bunch of people. Like, why didn't I just stay at my house? I've got a great view here, and, it's quieter, frankly. Anyway. I'm not the biggest fan of campground camping. Mostly for that reason, because why would I go so far to be closer to other people and not be able to close the door or go inside? But make it loud. We had an RV, so yeah, that helped. But anyway, yeah, so that was kind of the only big thing I did last month. Yeah, a lot of big work projects, big work events happened last month. So that did kind of take up a lot of my extra time. Yeah, so nothing too exciting happening around here. Still not jumping on a plane to go anywhere. I drove down to Santa Fe yesterday to visit a friend, so that was nice. Got out of town for the afternoon. Yeah, other than that, just been, trying to keep my life in order. It takes a lot of time. Just cleaning and feeding myself and making sure my clothes are clean and all of those things. The animals are fed, and yeah. As a singular person, it's surprising how much time that takes up and how much little time you have left over for everything else if you just try to live like a functioning human being. Who knew? Anyway. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into some crafty business, shall we? I do have a couple of finished objects. On this camping trip, I packed mostly yarn in anticipation of finishing all of my works in progress on this camping trip, which of course did not happen. But I did get one finished object on this camping trip. I finished my socks that I was knitting on last time. I've been calling them my Thunder socks because the colorway names, the main color is Cloud to Ground, I believe, and the contrasting color is Gold Experience. And this is from Dream in Color yarn. It's a Smooshy sock set. I bought it whenever I was on vacation visiting a friend out in California a couple years ago, and finally knit them up into some socks. And I finished these on my camping trip. I believe I was weaving in the ends as it was raining outside. So yeah, new pair of wool socks. I haven't had a chance to wear them yet because it's still pretty warm. Although whenever you do go up into the mountains now, it's quite chilly in the mornings. Definitely need some extra layers for that. Yeah, and those mornings are feeling just a little bit chillier and chillier, which is making me want to put on sweaters in the morning. And yeah, it's exciting. I'm really excited about fall coming. That's my favorite season here in northern New Mexico. The weather's just like perfect here in the fall. It's like the sun feels warm on your skin, but then the air is kind of cool, so you get these nice cool breezes, but the sun feels really good. And the sun is out pretty much all the time in the fall. The aspens start turning into, they're bright yellow, and you get these beautiful bright yellow aspens against this deep blue sky because we're up so high in elevation. It's just gorgeous. I love the fall here. It's beautiful. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that for sure. And now that it's September, it's just almost here. So yeah. Okay, finished objects. My socks. I'm like going on all sorts of tangents today. I don't know what's going on. So I finished some socks. Hooray. The next thing I finished this morning before I sat down to record. And yeah, here it is. It's my pine bow cowl. I had been working on this last time, and this was kind of an impulse cast on because I wanted some mindless color work to work on. And this definitely fit the bill. It's a very, very simple color work pattern that just repeats, and then you go in opposite directions of each other, and yeah, super simple. Don't have to think about it too much, although I do have to say, like, it's almost so simple that you mess it up. If that makes any sense. Yeah, I definitely caught myself not doing the right thing sometimes. I'm seeing a mistake in the color work right now as I'm looking at it. Whatever. I have not blocked this yet. It's gonna look a lot better after it gets blocked. You can see too, like, where I was working on the color work, and then I got to the stripe section, and you can see the difference in the gauge. It like puckers out there, and you can see it on this one too. It puckers out a little bit. It's because my color work gauge is tighter than my flat gauge, because these stripes, you're only working one strand at a time. You're just using one hand at a time. And the color work, I was using two hands at a time. And it ends up being quite a bit tighter. So blocking, I think, should fix most of that. Yeah, whenever I grafted it together this morning, I didn't do a very good job. I realized halfway through grafting it that, I should have put a stripe in there, because that's how the pattern goes, is that there's stripes in between the motifs. And yeah, I didn't think about that. I was just excited that it was long enough, and I was like, I'm gonna finish this before my podcast. And I kitchenered it together. At the end, somehow I ended up with more stitches on one end than the other, so I had to just like fudge it. So there's a little pinchy bit here. I'd actually been considering giving this as a gift because I hadn't really made it for any reason other than I just wanted to knit some color work. And I just grabbed random stash yarn that I had, which the yarns, by the way. So the gray is leftover from another project. This is Elsa wool sport weight Cormo, and I love this yarn. It's so soft. Yeah, so it's a sport weight, but it is woolen spun, which means it has a lot of extra air in it, so it can kind of expand and contract to fit multiple gauges. Whenever you have a woolen spun yarn, you can kind of say, you know, it's a woolen spun sport, like, well, I could use that as a fingering or as a DK or even as a worsted, which is what I did with this. So I paired it with this pink yarn that is worsted, and I dyed this up a few years back using avocados. It's a superwash worsted base. I don't remember anything other than that. So I used that for one of my colors, and the other color I don't have any more of because I actually used it all up. I believe was probably actually an Aran yarn. It even seemed thicker. But again, I don't know. It's not superwash. I dyed it with Kota flowers, which is also called Navajo tea. It grows wild out around here. Just harvest it on the roadside, boil it up, and you get this lovely, lovely autumnal orange. It's so good. So yeah, I have paired those two together into this cowl with some of my leftover neutral gray yarn from another sweater. And it fits just right, wrapped twice around my neck. Oh my God. Yeah, so I was gonna give it as a gift just because I didn't really have any particular reason to make it. Like, I didn't need a cowl like this. I already have multiple warm neck things. But it's kind of a mess. And I kind of messed up on it a lot. And it's kind of super cozy. So I think I might just keep it for myself. I'll just keep it for myself anyway, because I can't gift something with so many mistakes in it. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? It's horrible. It's so ugly. Oh dear. So yeah, this is my pine bow cowl. That's a little bit funky. Oh, the other thing is, it is a free pattern on Ravelry by Dianna Walla, I believe. And it calls for worsted weight yarn on a size US 4 needle, which I read that and said, that's stupid and that's gonna hurt my hands. No. So I didn't do that. I used a size 7 needle, and I just eliminated some of the stitches, just kind of try and make it approximate about how wide I would want it to be. Since I'm using a bigger needle, I just made it a little bit narrower. So this is about the size that the pattern intended. And yeah, there we go. Got a new cowl for the winter that is nice and cozy and snuggly. And I'm gonna keep it for myself. So those are my only FOs. And then I have just like mountains of whips. So, whips. I am in a serious position where I need to start finishing some whips because it's starting to get ridiculous. Yeah, which is part of my overzealousness and just like finishing that cowl and forgetting to do the stripes and like not Kitchenerring it well and just saying. Yeah, so let's look at some things that aren't done yet, and let's count how many sweaters I have, where I take that back. Let's count how many sleeves I have to knit. It's It's more than 2, I can tell you that much. All right, whips. Okay, so let's do sweater whips first. All right, you guys saw this one last time. I had started this, and I was through the bust, I believe. And this is, it's all stuck to itself, the Ghost Horses Sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And I now have the body done. I have picked up for one of the sleeves. Yeah, here it is. I'm really, really happy with it. Oh, I'm really happy with my color work. I am a little bit concerned it's too big. Yeah. So I did a gauge swatch on this, and I talked about this last time. I don't think I even have it in here. It's somewhere else. Anywho, so I did a gauge swatch on small circumference, which I knew was going to probably skew my gauge a little bit on the tight side anyway. And after I knitted up, I was like, yeah, this is like really on the tight side. So, you know, if there's a margin of error, I'm going to like round it up, right? So then between doing the gauge swatch and actually casting on the sweater, I watched a tutorial from Inga with Knitting Traditions about how she knits her Farrell colorwork or stranded colorwork, how she knits it with 2 hands. Or she was just explaining how she does continental. Anyway, she explained the way that she tensions her yarn with her left hand, and it like finally just made something click in my brain that had not clicked before. And miraculously, magically, my colorwork tension suddenly got way more even. So I was aware of this before I cast on the sweater. So I was like, okay, so now I know like this gauge swatch is like way tight. Whenever I get into the sweater, I know like my stitches are going to be bigger. It's going to be way more relaxed. So I thought that I calculated for that and picked the correct size based on my swatch, and then assuming that my tension was going to be looser. But it's still kind of big. It's still kind of big. It's not too big. Like, honestly, there just feels like there's a lot of extra fabric in the back right now. Like, it feels like it fits fine on the front. It's just, and I think maybe that's just part of the deal of a yoked sweater, because the increases are the same all the way around, and I don't have boobs on my back. So there's just like extra fabric there, right? But I haven't really had this issue with other yoked sweaters so much. Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Also, I feel like the sleeves are just like really big too. Which, again, normally, I have to size up my shoulders and my bicep because I kind of have broad shoulders for my frame and large biceps for my frame, and I usually have to adjust my patterns to taper down extra on the sleeves. So this pattern doesn't have any sleeve decreases going down the sleeve, but I am adding some in. I'm just kind of winging it and adding in a decrease every 4 or 5 rows or so, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. My plan is to just do half sleeves, so these are getting there. So I'm going to take it down to probably around here or so, another repeat of the pattern or so, and then I'll do my cuff, so I'll have nice half sleeves on this, which I think will be just right for the fall. I am hoping and planning to wear this to the Taos Wool Fest, which is my local yarn festival, wool festival, which is the first weekend of October. So that should be no problem to finish this up. All I have to do is the half sleeves. So how many sleeves is that? If it's a half, I guess I really just have 1 sleeve to knit on this. 1 full sleeve. Yeah, because the neckline's already done. You knit that in with it, and yeah, then it'll be finished. Cool. So the yarns I'm using, let's see. They're both Queensland brand yarns. The contrasting color is Queensland Perth in the colorway Great Sandy. And I actually ran out of this, and I had to order another ball online and have it shipped to me. So this did get like put away for a couple weeks while I was debating what to do and trying to find another yarn in the same colorway. I had to get it shipped in from California. There you go. Yeah. And this is a 100% superwash yarn, superwash wool, excuse me. And my main color is also a Queensland yarn. This is Queensland United in the colorway Dove. And it is 55% cotton, 45% wool, I believe, or it's the other way. So, yeah, these two together, we've got a cotton wool blend, which is machine washable, so it's superwash as well, the wool in it, and a superwash. So, you know, relatively speaking, it's going to be a pretty lightweight, breathable piece, even though it's stranded color work, right? Yeah, so one of these, the Dove yarn is actually listed as a sport weight, and the contrasting is listed as a fingering, but they go together just fine. You can barely even tell that one is a little bit thicker than the other one, so it's working out fine. Yeah, and I think it'll be a great transitional fall, I mean, look at the colors, sweater. And I have a nice little stitch marker down here where I found that I had dropped a stitch. I was way past it, like a few like motifs past this point, whenever I realized, oh, I dropped a stitch. That's why all of a sudden the pattern isn't lining up when I get around to the beginning of round. So it was pretty far back there, so I just put a little stitch marker on it, and I picked up an extra stitch wherever I was and just kept going. So I will just go back at the end before I block this, and with a little piece of scrap yarn, just grab this one loose stitch and sew it in there so it won't unravel anymore. Yeah, so this is my ghost horses in progress, almost done. Very exciting. One full sleeve to go. Next up, I don't think I had started this last time. I don't know if I bought the yarn for it yet. Maybe I haven't. It's a Varpoo. Okay, so this is knit per pattern, and I feel like it's very short, but I also feel like it's going to grow. And this is not going to be for me. This is actually a gift knit. Yeah, so what can I say about this one? I don't recall the designer's name off the top of my head, and I don't have it in my bag, of course. But it is from an issue of Lina magazine, I never know how to say it, I believe, but I bought it individually off of Ravelry, just this one pattern. So I am knitting this for my tattoo artist. I showed this last time. There's more color on this now. I don't know if there was color on it last time. Anyway, still have a little ways to go. But I am doing a partial trade for some knitwear in exchange for putting art onto my body. And yeah, she saw a picture of me wearing my ranunculus that I knit a few months back, and she said, oh, I think that would totally fit in my wardrobe. I want one of those. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna knit you a ranunculus. And then she said something about how she likes those big open knits, and I was like, and I'm gonna knit you a Varpoo. I have seen Katt from Heather and Hops knit this sweater probably half a dozen times. And when she said she liked the big open knits, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make her that one too, I just know. So the yarns that I'm using is a mixture of my own yarn and some yarn that I bought. I don't have a mohair base, so I don't know where my other ball of mohair is either. Oh, it fell on the floor. There we go. Yeah, so I bought a couple skeins of mohair. This is from Hazel knits, which I don't have the tag in front of me right now, but I'll get to that in a minute, I promise. It's from Hazel Knits, which is a hand dye company out of Seattle, I believe. I used to get them in my local yarn shop whenever I lived up in Portland, and they were like kind of the first indie dye company that I like fell in love with the colors with. They always do these great tonal yarns that is just like right up my alley. So I wanted to make her a gray Varpu. Not my contrasting color. The color I'm holding with the mohair is my own yarn. This is on my sock base, and this colorway is Thunderhead, and it is dyed with avocados. Yeah, can you believe it? This beautiful gray is from avocados. Yeah, so I have ended up holding this double with the mohair. So I'm actually holding 3 strands at a time, like so. So I'm pulling on the sock ball out of the center and from the outside at the same time. Yeah, and that's how I'm getting my 3 strands together to get the thickness of the yarn that I want. And here's how it's looking all knit up together. Isn't that so much fun? So yeah, the body is done. The body is done. How many sleeves do I have to knit? Oh, well, that's 2 whole sleeves. We've got 3 now. I have 3 sleeves to knit. So my next appointment with her, I need to double check my calendar, but I think I have like 3 weeks. It's like the end of September. I would love it if I could give her both sweaters. I mean, the ranunculus does go quickly, but I don't know. 2 sleeves and a collar to go on this one. But also, like, oh my god. It's just so soft. It's just like a big fluffy cloud. You just want to take a nap in it. Oh, I better look out, I might. All right. So that's my Varpu. Yeah, so that's 2 sweaters, 3 sleeves. I wasn't going to show these other ones because I'm not actively working on them, but I feel like I should because they really are just staring at me most of the time and making me feel bad that I haven't knit their sleeves yet. Okay, so it's been a minute since I have showed you guys this project, like probably since last summer, when I probably told you that I was going to do this exact same thing and I didn't do it. Yeah. This is my Myrtle sweater. It's a pattern by Davies in her book, The West Highland Way. Okay, that's the back. And it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's a languishing whip. I put it aside 2 or 3 years ago now. Yeah, so you might be able to see that there's little stitch markers kind of hanging all over this thing. And those little stitch markers are hanging all over this thing. I know, look at all of these ends. I mean, my God, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? Yeah, little stitch markers all over the place to hold stitches that got eaten through by moths as it sat in a basket, tucked back in a corner for 3 years while I tried to forget that it was there. Well, that just happened. And I just pulled my needle out and like legit just dropped a bunch of stitches. Okay, so I'm just going to be really gentle with this now. And I'll deal with that later. So as you can see, there's like most of a sleeve over here. And there's not a sleeve over here. So I got this far on this sweater, and I ran out, or I was running out of the dark blue yarn. And I had some other blue yarn in my stash, and it was a lace weight too, so I thought that I would be able to just like fudge it and use this. Let me hold it a little bit closer. I don't know if you can see. So these, just the last stripe and this row that's on the needle is the other blue. And it is quite a bit thicker, even though it's also a lace weight, and the color just doesn't quite match. So I decided I can't do it. So I ordered more yarn. Second sweater this week that I had to order more yarn for too. So the yarn I'm using on this is Knit Picks. It's Alpaca Cloud, I believe is what it's called. It's lace weight, 100% alpaca yarn. Beautiful, luxurious. I love the colors. This pattern is really nice. There's no color work. It looks like it might be color work. It's all stripes. It's just the lace pattern itself makes it do the wavy bit. So it's really not as complicated as it looks. However, it is knit on size 2 needles, and it's lace weight, and there is a lace pattern. So it's, you know, it takes some patience and it takes a little brain power. Yeah. So I have since ordered the new ball of yarn. I caked it up the other day. So this is ready to go again. I'm in this situation now where I keep looking at it and I like see the moth holes, and I'm like, is this worth fixing? I'm so far into it though. That's just a bit of a sleeve. So there's really just one sleeve. Like I think I have like 2 more stripes to go, and then the cuff on this side. So this sleeve is almost done. Yeah. So I just have another sleeve over here with all these ends, and then I have to fix all of the holes from the moths from, let's just be real, y'all. This is called depression. When you leave your precious knits in a basket in the corner for 3 years and don't think about them, that's called depression. Yeah, so I'm a little bit torn about what to do. If I should just call it and say like money wasted, or if I should finish it and fix all of the holes. Oh God, see, I'm finding more holes now that I didn't see before. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you have any thoughts or opinions? Like, would it be cathartic to finish it, or would it be cathartic to just like stuff it into a pillow and never look at it again? Yeah, I'm having a little bit of a mental block with this one, I think. So yeah, any feedback you guys have for, you know, could I work this into some sort of ritual, you know, and not have to finish it? Honestly, I think I want an excuse to not have to finish it. Like, I really want the sweater, but oh my God, I do not want to have to knit another sleeve and fix all of these holes. Like, it's just, I don't want to do it. I just want the sweater. So, what would you do? What is it? WWAKD? What would a knitter do? Let me know what you would do, because I'm not feeling too excited about it. Okay, so now we're at 3 sweaters and 4 sleeves. All right. Next one up. I haven't touched this since the last time I showed you guys. I haven't even blocked it. It's the Minimalist cable cardigan. That's backwards. I have all of the body pieces done. This is also a gift knit. Yeah, it's been a minute since I showed this to you guys. I need to block it and seam these pieces together. Got my 2 front pieces there. And my back panel here. Yeah, so these just need to be blocked and seamed together, and then I need to knit 2 sleeves and the collar. And this is a gift knit, and I did say I was going to add pockets to it, so I'm going to do some afterthought pockets, but I haven't really decided yet how I'm going to do those. So also, if anybody has any suggestions for a favorite way to do an afterthought pocket, let me know. Yeah, so this is also just staring at me, and it has been for several months, I think now. I think summer hit, or the end of spring, and I was like, it's hot, I'm not going to knit on a giant wool cardigan. I'll just block it and seam these together, and then it'll be ready to go for the fall. Except that I didn't block it and I didn't seam it together. So that's next up for this. And then 2 more sleeves. So that's 4 sweaters and 6 sleeves. Yeah. I am not on Sleeve Island. It's like either I'm on the big island of Sleeve Island, or it's like Sleeve Archipelago, right? Archipelago? Archipelago. Oh, goodness. So I think I have other whips too. Oh, like barely though. Let me see what else I have at my feet. What else do I have to show you guys? Like not much. Okay, so I also took my spring intention shawl with me on the camping trip with big intentions of finishing it like around the campfire. But I didn't. I put about 5 rows on it. Oh, it's still going. Yeah, it's been a minute since I showed you guys this too. Again, I ran out of yarn. It seems to be a theme this year. I keep running out of yarn for projects. That never used to happen to me. But this is all hand spun. So I had to spin more yarn, which I then did, but then it was summer and I'm like, I'm not going to knit on a giant blanket on my lap in the summertime. So it's kind of been on hold, but I was like camping around the campfire, knitting on this, covering my lap, like it's perfect. Except that it rained a lot, so we didn't really get to do the campfire thing all that much. Yeah, so I need to finish this. It's another languishing whip that's starting to drive me crazy. And I just want it to be done. It's so close to being done. I mean, really, this is another one of those projects where I'm just going until I feel like it's good, it's long enough. Like I did with this cowl too. I just kind of went until I was like, oh, I can wrap it twice. I'm done. Like, let's get through that stuff together and I'm done with it. Yeah, so like, this is pretty big already. I would like it to be a little bit longer, you know, like if I could actually stretch my arms all the way out. If I stretch it, I can stretch my arms all the way out. But yeah, just like a few more inches, maybe another 6 inches or something. And then this is done too, which would be really nice because this is going to be such a nice little, you know, just throw to have on the back of the couch this winter. Yeah, it's not even cold in here, but now I'm just like, I just want to sit down. I do have a fan blowing on me, so that does a little bit. But yeah, it's still warm here. I think it's gonna be like 80 today, which, what is that in Celsius? I don't know, like 27. I'm guessing. I'll look it up. I'll look it up and confirm. But yeah, we're still having nice warm summer days. It is cooling off more in the evenings, though. Oh, yeah. I just had a vision of, like, sitting on my patio in the evening, wrapped up in this, like, watching the sunset. Oh, my gosh. Can't wait for fall, you guys. I can't wait for fall. My spring intentions in the fall. Spring intentions, fall intentions, whatever. Whatever. As long as your intentions are good, right? Okay, so I need to get back to this thing and finish it. Definitely. And I have another one that's languishing. Yeah, and this, I'm at the point where I'm frogging this, but I just wanted to show you the yarns that I am using. So this is also a hand spun project. I am making a pillowcase for a throw pillow on my couch. So I have these two colors that I am going to put together. I had started, I know this is like such a mess. This is also like, this one is like my first attempt at woolen spun, and I also did it as a 3-ply Navajo ply, which I think was the second time I had done that. I practiced it on some other fiber first, but yeah, it's a mess. I mean, you can tell. And this looks a lot better because that's after I had some practice. Yeah, so I have a couple of skeins of this color that are done and ready to go. And I have this one, and I have another one that's on my spinning wheel that is being plied at the moment. I just need to finish it up and wind it off of my wheel. And then I think what I'm gonna do, because these are like so kind of rustic and thick and thin and like not the best hand spun, I think I might just do like a garter stitch stripes and just alternate and call it good. Seems super easy. I had started it off doing a double seed stitch, and I was going to color block it, but I just didn't like the way the texture was coming out. I ripped the needles out the other day. I haven't undone it yet, but yeah. And like, I think I had 2 different needle sizes here because I don't know what I did. This is just like a mess. But I did not like the way the fabric was coming out doing a double seed stitch on whatever size needle I was using. So yeah, this is going to get ripped out. I thought that the kind of texture pattern of the double seed stitch would complement the sort of wonkiness of the yarn, but I think it's just too much even. So I think I'm just going to do garter stitch stripes and just call it good. And then I can cover up another cushion on my couch, which would be great because I have 2 pillows on my couch that are just like the white underneath like pillow form. They don't have anything on them. Yeah, so let's get to decorating my house too. Oh, speaking of decorating my house, I learned a new skill. I don't know if you guys watch it. It's Chevy Rel's Stuff, I think is what her podcast is called. I can't remember. I'll put it down in the thingy down there. Anywho, she's a hoot. I definitely enjoy watching her. But she was showing her yarn coil baskets in one of her podcasts recently, and then she made a tutorial on how to make these coil baskets, and all of a sudden my inspiration was just like, oh, yes, I want to make all the baskets. So I followed her tutorial. I found some scrappy stuff around my house. As she was talking about like different things you could make with them, you know, she threw out, oh, you can make a coaster, like whatever, and I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. Like, I'm just gonna practice and make some coasters because I need some new coasters. So I did this, and then I did this. They're so cute. Yeah, so I definitely messed up the end because I didn't actually watch that part of the tutorial how to finish it off. Yeah, so I definitely messed those up. But this was super fun to like play around with and just play with colors and play with different ways of stacking the colors or doing it in a circle. And kind of my color scheme in my living room is like sage green and orange kind of. So I thought these colors were great. Yeah, so I have these two. I started a third one that's, you know, another like rounded round like this. And yeah, I'm just gonna make a couple more and have a nice cute little coaster set. And like, this is the funnest way to use up scraps. And I just love that it's like a totally different thing than anything I've done before. And it was like super simple. And it's super fun. And they don't take that long either. Like, I made this one in a day. This was the first one, and then I made this one in probably like 2 or 3 hours, like during the day, you know. I would just sit down and do a few stitches and, you know, wander off and do whatever else I was doing and sit down and do a few stitches. Yeah, and they come out really quick. Super cute. I'm definitely gonna make some more, so thank you, Shivas. Love it. As if I needed another hobby. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, I have 2 more things, which is kind of a whip and kind of an acquisition, but yeah, here we go. So I had to buy the yarn for the Varpoo, the mohair, which I got from Hazel Knits, which I don't have the tag right in front of me, so I'm not sure what the colorway of this one is, what it's called. But I also bought a second color of mohair to make the ranunculus to go along with the Varpoo for my tattoo artist. And this one does still have the label on it. So this is the colorway Lichen from Hazel Knits. AeroMo is what they call it. 70% mohair, 30% silk, 460 yards, Hazel Knits out of Seattle, Washington. And like, my God, look at this color. It's just like everything. It's like the perfect, like, scummy yellow green, which, if you have been following me for a little bit, the poop socks from a couple of months ago were also in partial trade for this. And I was worried that the color was just kind of ugly and looked like poop. But she loved it, and she was like, I love like the ugly colors. Like scummy brown, scummy green, scummy yellow. So this is going to be just perfect. So what I have to do now is dye up the yarn that's going to go with the mohair for the ranunculus. And oddly enough, serendipitously enough, I have dyed up a colorway myself that I also called Lichen, because it was this lovely scummy yellow green that I dyed it up like last summer using chamisa flowers from my yard, which the chamisa just this week all started blooming. So I'm like, okay, now I can dye up some sock yarn to go with this. That should be a pretty, you know, similar complementary color as with, you know, my avocado gray and gray mohair over here. I'll have Lichen mohair and chamisa sock yarn. And then those will go together into a ranunculus, which hopefully will knit up really quickly, and does not have sleeves. There's a silver lining. I've got another sweater in the queue, no sleeves. Okay, yes, so whenever I was buying the mohair for the 2 sweaters for my friend, Hazel Knits does a thing where they have a color of the month that's like, I don't know, 10 or 15% off or something. So they'll have whatever color they picked for that month, and all of their bases, it's on sale. So I was like, well, while I'm here, like while I'm online shopping, just look and see. They also do have a section, like a sales section of, I think they call them naughty skeins. So it's like skeins that have a knot in them or 2. And they'll usually tell you if it's like 1 or 2 knots in it or something, but they sell them at a discount. And like, I've done that with sock yarn before. It's like, I don't care. Like, I'll just snip it out and it's fine. And you know, it saves you a few bucks. So that's a tip. Anyway, so their color of the month is also on sale. So I was like, let's just see what their color of the month is. And maybe I can, you know, grab myself a skein of sock yarn just for me. And I went and I looked, and their color of the month, the colorway was called Taos, which is where I live. So here's the color. It's this beautiful, let me find the ball. It's way down here. This beautiful, like, sort of dirty, rosy pink, like, almost terracotta, almost floral. So I see it, and it's like, really, the Taosania finds the Taos colorway, like, I have to. So I bought myself a skein, and I have cast on some socks. So yes, this is still a whip, but it's also an acquisition. Yeah, so normally I knit all of my socks toe up, vanilla, I'm done. German short heel, like, done. I don't like to fuss with it. I like simple socks. I want something easy. I'm not doing that this time. I have, for some godforsaken reason, decided to knit a proper sock pattern that starts from the cuff and works its way down and has cables on it and a heel flap and gusset. I don't know what I'm thinking. So I haven't done a patterned sock in like years and years and years because I didn't like doing patterned socks. I feel like now that I'm a more experienced knitter, it probably won't bother me as much. So I'm kind of curious to see how I sort of feel about these. So these are going to be the Oktoberfest socken. I'm pretty excited. They're just really cute, like traditional cabled socks. Sorry, my printer is like out of all of the colors. But there you go. Fun cabled sock for Oktoberfest, which I was going to wear to our Oktoberfest that we have up in my little ski village at the end of September, but we canceled it because COVID is still a thing in America because people are stupid. Anyway, yeah, so no Oktoberfest for us this year. But that means I have no deadline to get my Oktoberfest socken finished. Yeah, so I'm excited about doing these. I'm excited about trying to heel flap and gusset again because I haven't done that in ages and ages. When I was first starting to knit, I hated nothing more than picking up stitches. It was like the worst thing I could do. If I found a pattern, what have I done to myself? What did I do? I got them stuck together. Yeah, whenever I was first starting, if I saw a pattern where you had to pick up stitches, I was just like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. So I did a couple of heel flap and gussets when I was first starting to knit socks. And I really didn't like knitting socks because I had to pick up those stupid stitches, and I just, oh my gosh, it just drove me batty. And I didn't like doing patterns on the small circumference, like it was just too fiddly. So this is, yeah, it's really a test to kind of see how my knitting tastes have changed. Because it's like looking at the pattern, it's a pretty complicated cable pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry if you want to look at it. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in that cable. So I am going to have to pay attention, which means I need to cast on another pair of socks that are plain vanilla that I can just knit and knit and knit, because this is more of a project. This is not like a fun Zoom sock, you know. But yeah, since I finished these, I don't have any easy socks, so I need to cast on another pair of easy socks for my Zoom meetings and other times when you have to wait places for 5 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how this progresses, and if I can tolerate it, or if I just get angry and rip it out and knit a vanilla sock from the toe up. Anything could happen. My gosh, so I think that's everything I have. I talked last time about how I've been gifted a bunch of fleeces, and I'm really excited about dyeing the fleeces. I haven't gotten much further on that project. I have gotten some supplies that I needed to make that project become a reality. I bought a really cool antique cedar-lined chest that is now my coffee table. I happened into an estate sale place a few weeks back and happened to see this chest, and it was cedar lined, and I was like, I need this in my life. I have pounds and pounds of fleece that I don't have anywhere to put, and I don't want to get icky. So they're in cedar now. I feel good about that. I have ordered a drum carder so that I can start carding my own fibers, which is very exciting. So yeah, now I have my storage, I have my tools to actually make the fleece that I want to make. And I've started kind of talking with some farms around the area who have fiber animals. So I'm really excited about things that might be coming down the pipeline, and it's getting me really excited for winter, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to like dye all of the fleece this fall, and then I can just spin all winter. That'd be great. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do enjoy getting to have a little chat with my knit friends. Even if it's not a real-time conversation, it's still really nice. So thank you for being here. Please do comment and let me know what you're up to. I'd love to know all of your projects, and yeah, let me know your opinions on like getting rid of projects or seeing them through the end, or boy. All right. Well, thanks you guys. I'll see you again next time. Hopefully in a few weeks I'll get back to you and I'll have some fun new dye experiments to share with you. I really need to get out there because those flowers are blooming. So it's time. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.